All right, so we're live. So on here, we're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube,
Mhm.
and here we're live on TikTok. All right,
Yeah.
cool. All right, guys, welcome. It is 7:11 here in the East Coast, and I know you'll be able to watch us all over the country. But I go live on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays typically. But today I'm extremely excited because I'm here right with some amazing real estate professionals, and they're going to introduce themselves in a minute. And this is
Mhm.
great because sometimes what I talk about is boring, right? And what they do is really the exciting part of buying the house,
Mhm.
right? But it's great because I always talk about how it's important to work as a team to
Yes.
cultivate the right experience. So I'm here joined with Cynthia and Darren Jordan. Everybody, round of applause. Let's go. Round of applause. Cynthia. I would like for you guys to introduce yourselves. So Cynthia, right? Tell us a little bit about you, who you are. A little bit about your brokerage.
Absolutely, absolutely. Of course, I'm Cynthia Jordan, and I am a broker with CWJ Real Estate Group. Now, I've been in the business for a number of years. I'll go as far to say 28 years and counting.
And counting. Wow.
And you know, you gotta love it. You gotta love the business because there's a lot going on. There are a lot of moving parts, and we thank God for our partners, like our lenders. We thank God for them because we need them. Our business need mortgage brokers, right? So we connect, we work well together. So without them, our buyers may not be able to buy. So we just thank God for you. But again, yes, being in the business for as long as I have, I mean, I've came up the ranks.
You've seen it
Right.
all.
I've seen it all. I've been in the bottom when we went belly up.
Yeah.
And I've been in the business when we recovered.
Yeah.
Right. So it was indeed an experience
Yeah.
that I learned from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
What doesn't kill you make you
Right.
stronger. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Hmm.
thank you for having me.
Yeah.
We're in their offices and their headquarters in Maplewood, New Jersey,
Yeah.
we're also here. And actually started working with Darren. Darren, can you please just introduce yourself
Oh
to?
yeah, absolutely. My name is Darren Jordan Jr. I have been associated with Eric for quite some time and working with him for quite some time. Great guy, not only a great lender but also just a great friend as well. And this sweet lady to the right of me is my mother, who is the owner and founder of CWJ Real Estate Group. That I am a realtor affiliate for. I've been in the business for maybe since 2021, so like 5 years at this point.
But you're learning from the best.
And
So it's like you have 28 years of experience.
Oh,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. You know, it's been around it my whole life, and it's like looking back. I was thinking about this the other day actually. There is like a Kodak moment in my mind where like I feel like I was in the passenger seat of your car while you went on the showing. And there's like a Kodak memory in my head of
Right.
that. But I at the time I didn't understand the importance or like of it at all. I think I just wanted to go home. I was
Of
probably
course.
just looking at my phone or something or doing whatever I was doing,
Wow.
just sitting there waiting. But now that I'm
Right.
actually in the field understanding, yeah, I mean it's like
Right. I've been in the business as long as you've been born.
yeah.
Oh
Right.
man,
And look,
look at that! Now it's a family business,
Yeah,
and
it's
exactly.
a family, thing.
Exactly.
So
Oh, yes.
and I want to talk about that, right? Because before we kind of dive into like the market and some
yeah,
things, so you've been doing this for 28 years, and you're going to be having your grand opening on this office
yeah,
on May 14th, correct?
yeah.
Correct. Hmm.
So this is a grand opening of your own brokerage, your own
Yes.
family brokerage, where it's a family affair. So
Right.
what led you to this point? Like what made you decide, you know what, after all this time, we got to do something on our own? I would love to hear about that origin story.
Oh, absolutely. And I'd like to share it. Being in the business for as long as I have worked with various brokerages. I've worked with the Remaxes, the Century 21s, the ERAs. I've gleaned a lot from it. I've learned a lot from working with different brands and different models. And I just felt it was time to step out on my own, and just take a chance on myself. And not only that, I had children in the business, right? So I did look at it from a family perspective. And I thought it would be, ideal for us to, step out and broker our own real estate company, right?
Yeah.
Myself as the broker and my children, in the business for starters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing because you've
Mhm.
already listen. A lot of times you join a brokerage because you don't know what you don't know, and you're there for the training and the support and whatnot. But after 28 years in the business, I don't think that there's much more, right? And listen, we're all students of the game, and we can always
Right.
learn.
Always learning.
We're always
be
learning.
especially in this business.
Right.
Always be
But
learning.
there's always different
Mhm.
ways to continue learning and growing, right? While building something that's yours, a legacy that's yours, which is
Right.
pretty cool. Right?
Absolutely.
And I think you guys are amazing, professionals, and I'm so glad that we were able to connect. Is the way that you talk to your clients and you treat your clients, and that's really what it's all about. Because a lot of people, especially you know, becoming a realtor during the pandemic was like a diamond. Everybody wanted to do it, right?
Right.
Everybody was making money hand over fist, and they didn't learn how to really treat the client right,
Right.
right? And it was because it was easy.
I
Absolutely,
agree.
absolutely.
And when I got into it, it was school had ended, so it was swing 20,
Mm.
and my mom, my sister were killing it.
Mm.
Yeah,
They were killing. You were like, oh man, I want to do that.
But it's so crazy. But it's so crazy because
Yeah.
initially, like, it actually wasn't something that I was just like, oh, let me go ahead and train at that.
Yeah.
It was just like I was just unsure about where school was going, and then they were just like, well, you might as well get your license.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I was just like, I mean, okay,
Yeah.
I don't see why not. You know what I mean? Like if it. Like I might as well get it, even if when I graduate from school, I have my degree and I have my real estate license. So it's like, all right, like I got two things going on for myself.
Mhm.
And it's like to what you're saying, though, like I'm one of my clients told me that like, that real estate and selling houses is just beyond just like it's not as easy as maybe it once was back in 2020. You really got to actually get to the meat and potatoes of what realtors were designed to do
Mhm.
in the first place.
Yes,
I mean,
correct.
You got to really
Correct.
know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Know the numbers. Know how to sell.
Yeah.
Know how to connect with people. Like no one is just about to just sell because it's easy to anymore, or buyers aren't about to just buy because it's easy to, because it's not as easy as it was in 2020 with like low interest rates and whatnot. It's harder. It's competitive.
Market shifts.
Market shifts, and
Yeah.
It's cyclical. Real estate is cyclical.
and
Yeah.
you really gotta be an expert.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
there's no getting around that. So I think to your point and what you're saying, like,
But that's
true.
that's where the longevity comes in, right?
Mhm.
So when you do that and they're just not a number, and you're actually treating people like their family, and you're advising them, and
Yeah.
and if it's a bad house, I don't know about this house. If it's a good, hey, this is a good house, and a lot of times people just look at the paycheck. They look at somebody and they're a dollar sign.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I've never been that agent.
Yeah.
Right. It's like when buyers, first of all, real estate is relational, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to be okay with meeting new people, establishing relationships, because we're going to be working together for the next 180 days.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to be cordial. You got to understand your client. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're in a relationship. I have met people who are very good friends with me today. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not that person, you know what I'm saying? If you're not a people person,
Yeah.
And let me just add this. I'm also a real estate instructor, right? So, my students, they're always quizzing me, right? Especially towards the end of the session. But again, you have to be a people
Mm-hmm.
person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You can't snub your clients.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You have to go in and understand that you're putting their needs first. It's important to understand their needs,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to know that you're putting them first.
Yeah.
Make them feel like they're very important, and not just make them feel that way, but be that person.
Yeah.
Make them, you know, your priority,
Yeah.
if you will. So I think that's the value that I add to my business. You know what I'm saying? That I am ensuring that you are priority.
Yeah.
Right. So
And the proof is in the pudding, right? Like I meet so many people in all walks of life, and oh, you're in mortgages. I used to do real estate. A lot of people say I used to do it. I used to do it because that many. It's tough to last 28 years, right? It's tough to last 28 years. So when you see somebody that's been doing this as long as you, is because you treated people the right way, because you build that sphere of influence, because right these past client databases they're going to remember how you treated them,
yeah.
and that's how you are able to now 20 years later say I'm going to build my own brokerage because you built those relationships and you have that sphere of influence.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You
And a
know.
lot of my business is based on referrals
Yeah. Yeah.
in my sphere
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like I'm not prospecting,
Yeah.
because I am, and I'm doing it with my, my associates, we're doing it together.
Yeah.
But a lot of my business does come from referrals in
Yeah.
sphere.
Which is I think that's the holy grail, right?
Mhm.
I think that's what what we really want is people to refer you, because when somebody refers you, that warm introduction is that builds that loyalty and that trust, that triangle, that trust. When
Mhm.
you're getting leads from
Absolutely.
even here on Instagram or Facebook,
Mhm.
and they're cold leads, right? And I think it's important to continue on your brand, so you and know that you're serious about this and you do well. But it's about saying, okay, you know what, this person treated me right. So it's like when you tell me, Eric, you got to try this restaurant. I'm more likely to go if you recommended the restaurant.
Right.
Also, same
Because
thing
they trust
because they
you.
trust that. Yeah,
Yeah, because they trust
hey,
you.
my boy said that I gotta go try this.
Okay.
Right, instead of going on Yelp or whatever the case may
Right.
be. Right, and that's the
Right.
difference.
Exactly.
So, so
Exactly.
so now let's talk about today's market, right? Because I think a word that I've been using lately is volatile.
Mm-hmm.
It's a volatile market. So nothing's easy. We have to earn our stripes these days, right? But those people that understand that and that work on their business and continue to get better are the ones that are going to continue to separate themselves from those that are just very transactional, right? So, how would you describe this market? What are you seeing? What are you going through?
I feel like when you say volatile, up and down, when it's seemingly a seller's market, right? And
And I want you to dive into a seller's market and after this thought, because I
right,
want people to understand what that is. But okay.
right, right. So when it's seemingly a seller's market, and I'm watching the either the days on the market,
Yeah.
right? Back during the 2020, days on the market was like five a week,
Yeah.
7 days,
Yeah.
10 days max. Now the days on the market is growing.
So the houses are sitting for a little longer.
So yeah, houses are sitting for a little longer, and now I feel like then I was like, okay, it's not necessarily totally a seller's market, even though the prices are still climbing, right? The buyers are becoming a little more, educated. You know what I'm saying? And they're not so apt to just rush in. You know what I'm saying? They're doing their due diligence, right? And it's taking time. It's taking a little bit more time. So we're looking at days on the market, 30, 35, 40 days on the market. It's climbing. And the prices of homes are going down, or they're being adjusted.
You see more. You see more price adjustments.
Definitely. So we're gonna see. We're kind of like in a quandary. Like, okay, it's a buyer seller, market.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the buyers are not just jumping in quickly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're
They-
taking their time. They're being educated. You know what I'm saying? They're not trying to pay your back in the day. They're not trying to pay your children's college degree
Mhm.
just to purchase this house. You remember
Mhm.
they were doing that back in the day. They
Mhm.
were offering like I'm willing to
Yeah.
go above and
Yeah,
beyond, not
yeah.
just in overprice,
Yeah.
but they were willing to do
Yeah.
certain things,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
help the seller, just for the seller to accept their
Yeah.
offer. We're not there
Yeah.
anymore. Buyers
Yeah.
are a little bit
I,
more.
I think so for those, so just to touch base on the seller's market is when there's a lot more buyers and sellers, and the
Right.
seller can ask for whatever they want in a silver platter, right? And it's because it's just the basic law of economics of supply versus demand.
Mm.
There's not enough inventory, aka supply. There's a lot of demand, so the seller can get a lot more for their property, or they get all kinds of contingencies waived, right? Appraisal gaps, inspections, all these kinds of things. And that's where we were in the pandemic.
Right.
Now, in the
Right.
pandemic, we were there, but that's because there was, again, not enough inventory, a lot of demand, and rates were in the threes. So even if somebody offered $50,000 above what they were asking, uh, at a 3% rate, right, that's going to make a huge impact, right? Well, today at a 6.5% rate,
Right.
now it makes a bigger impact,
It does.
right? Um, and then we are seeing that across the country where the markets have shifted. Florida is probably one of the states where there's a lot more inventory than buyers. So a lot more
Mm.
price reductions, a lot more
Mm.
negotiations. But we're seeing that now. But here's the thing, and Darren, if you can elaborate, like real estate, even today is hyper local. There's even though what you're seeing, some price reductions in some cases. Like we just had a client the other day that bid over what they were asking for, and
Mm-hmm.
and somebody else bid higher. So we're still seeing multiple offer situations, even in an environment where there's price reductions and the houses are sitting on the market a little longer.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's because there's still a lot of buyers out there.
Yeah.
Still, I think buyers are the buyers are not like a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
Like they're it's a whole bunch of people that still wanna buy real estate, and I definitely do think when people ask me like how's the market, yeah, sometimes I find it a little tough to answer that question. So I mean, I pretty much say it depends on what you're trying to do and like what you're trying to accomplish, right? Like I feel like when you are prepared to buy a house, like on your end, like you have like the capital saved up and that's a realistic goal of yours that you're trying to accomplish, you could find a way to get in any market, right? Because I mean, my mother, I know she works with a lot of sellers. I mean, most of my experience has come from buyers, and the thing
Mm.
is, us as real estate agents, we have the we have the advantage that we have, or what works to our advantage is the fact that we have been on both sides at some point. So we know what it's like to have the conversations with sellers. We know those conversations. The conversations with buyers. We know those conversations. So for you as a buyer, and you're looking to get, and let's say for instance the price is high, where I feel like I find the value in myself is where like, all right, if we can't get in through the front door, how can we get in through the back, right? If there's a high demand for this house, that everybody wants this house, maybe let's shift gears and look towards the how can we reroute, re-strategize. This house obviously is getting the most eyes. Maybe if we shift our eyes to the house that are not getting the most eyes, it may not be as updated. It will be cheaper, but maybe if you got the foresight to maybe redo the kitchen, redo this, right? And now you know that you're buying into equity. So now you're just re-strategizing to figure out how you could get your foot in the door in this
Mm-hmm.
market, right? Like if that's the case, if that's the case over there, and the goal is to buy a house, how can we still buy the house, like how, like now that we know that that's our goal, how do we focus on the systems of buying the house, like,
Mm-hmm.
how do we focus on that process? Because at the end of the day you want to buy a house. So if we take the same structure, the same bones, we look at, because all that that house might have all the bells and whistles, it's
Right.
turnkey ready.
Right.
But realistically, there is another way to go about and still get what you want. You just gotta be open minded to it. You know what I mean? And that's it's really subject to the buyers. Some buyers are just, they may not be
It's stuck in
open
it.
to
Yeah, they're
open to
stuck.
that, and that's
Right.
fine. But
Yeah.
you're subject to getting outbidded. You're subject to those things.
But you know what? Let me add to that. Is you definitely had your experience with that, especially with this buyer that you've been working with. Some buyers are just so stuck in what they want. You know what I'm saying? You have to allow for them to do it their way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You have to allow for them to do it their way so they can see and trust, the plan that you put in place
Yeah.
in order to help them get their offer accepted.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, you've experienced that with this last buyer.
Yeah. I'm
Right.
it's
So
just,
it's going through these different
yeah,
that you have to come up with a strategy that works
exactly.
for this
And
buyer
and that's where the value, comes into
Yeah.
place.
Oh,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? And
That's
Yeah.
why. So we are advisors, right? So like
Yeah.
the thing is that we have to ask questions and listen to the buyers and their goals.
yeah.
And every you mentioned as far as when somebody asks what's the market like, it's like somebody says, well, somebody's in the pool, so how's the water? The best way to do it is dip your toes in.
To jump
Exactly.
in. To jump in.
That I love that, and I'm
Exactly.
using
Right,
that.
yeah,
That,
dip your
I
toes
love.
in it.
I love that
You
analogy.
assess for yourself, right?
Right.
What might be hot for warm for somebody else, might be
Yeah.
cold for somebody else. Assess, and there's no obligation with getting pre-approved, seeing what's out there, because what happens is that a lot of buyers, they don't know what they don't know.
Right.
And the best way to do it is to really go out there, right? Because I'm pretty sure you say, hey, listen, this is a competitive market. Most houses are going over asking, right?
Right.
You're not gonna go $30,000 below asking in this property, whatever. Like, listen to me, whatever. But then some buyers say, no, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And there's a life cycle of buyers where some buyers start and they're like, I don't want to buy. I'm gonna offer this.
Right.
But then they get 3 months, 4 months later, they're the ones overbidding because they're tired.
Right.
And then so it's a cycle. So that what happens is that the person that won this house probably has been looking for longer and is frustrated and understands that the house isn't going to come down in price. So they're gonna
everybody's
Right.
at different.
everybody's at
points.
different points.
Right. A
Yeah.
different point. Right.
Yeah.
In
Our
their
jo-
buying cycle. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Our job
That
is
makes
to
sense.
educate people to get them to that point much faster.
much
Exactly,
faster. And if you
exactly.
listen to me the first time, then you
Yeah.
probably
And that
yeah.
I think, Eric, is where, and I'm be honest, that is something I have to get them. It's like trying to get them to understand that way ahead. Yeah,
Right. This is real time information. I'm not lying to you.
man.
Right.
That's
I'm not trying to get you to, what this
Yeah.
is your competition.
yeah. No,
Right.
it's not. It's not
This is
about
your
us.
competition.
It's not from a buyer's agent standpoint. It's not like our job as a buyer